Hey guys, what's going on? It's Kel back here yet again representing the 40k YouTube channel for all your things Warhammer 40,000 related. We're going to be doing a lot of videos today because Games Workshop and the Warhammer community posts have put up literally loads and loads and loads of new rules, new content for the upcoming Warhammer 40,000 9th edition. I'm going to do several videos on this just to split it up because I know some people will only be interested in certain bits, certain parts. So I'm going to go through, pick one bit out, do a video on it, pick another bit out and do a video on it. So we're going to split it up nicely so you can find whatever you want. This video is going to be about the new edition, 40k 9th edition, terrain rules and line of sight. I've been interested about this one for a while because one of the big things about 8th edition was the line of sight, the blocking rules and the terrain rules could have been better. So I'm interested to see what's going to change in 9th edition. I know there's other articles on here about the Custodes and the Assassins and Sisters of Silence. I've read a little bit of those, but I haven't looked at the new edition rules line of sight one. So we're going to look through this together and see what we think together as per usual. Before that though, we're going to have a quick shout out to all the new subscribers, all the people who have liked, shared, commented on the videos as before in the past 24 hours and the past few days since we set up the channel. It is a fantastic response to such a little channel. Thank you. I say this all the time, but if you want to join this the channel and follow us, press that subscribe button right now. And at the very least, if you could drop a like on the video, it does help a lot, especially for little channels like this one. So if you could do that, that would be fantastic. But I won't waste any more of your time. We'll go into the new edition rules for terrain and line of sight. And let's see what we have. The new banner. Before we start, I'm still not too sure on this banner. This Warhammer 40,000 new blue banner. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Anyway, so here we go. So we've told you how vehicles and big monsters are going to be even more frightening in the new edition, and how blast weapons will offer many weapons a formidable advantage against more numerous enemies. But what about their would-be victims? Well, in line with feedback from our elite team of player testers and you, the Warhammer 40,000 community, the terrain rules have undergone a radical overhaul, aimed at providing a more balanced and immersive gaming experience. Here's the lowdown on some of the key changes. So we've got terrain categories first of all. All terrain types now fit into one of 4 categories: hill, obstacles, area terrain and buildings. How units interact with them depends not just on the nature of the terrain itself, but the unit's own size and what type of unit they are. Okay, this looks like it's going to be more detailed as we go on. For example, hills are essentially a part of the battlefield for all intent and purposes, so are treated as open ground and offer no form of protection. Okay, so if hills are going to offer no protection, why mention it at all? Okay. Obstacles, on the other hand, are a foot slogger's best friend, as they offer the benefit of cover, which for the most part means a +1 to the saving throws against ranged weapons to infantry, beast or swarm units if the obstacle is in the way of the firing unit. Okay, so that's pretty much how it was. So you can see we've got a unit of guardsmen in like a trench bunker type thing, and I'm guessing that refers to the +1 save fighting the Tau there. I don't know what Tau model that is. It's no Tau model I've ever seen before, but anyway. Terrain traits. When set up on a battlefield, you and your opponents decide which terrain traits will be applied to each piece of scenery. The traits are designed to be stackable, so a single terrain piece can actually be given as many different traits as you wish. For example, you may decide to count a bunker as both light cover and heavy cover, offering the benefits of cover at every range. Okay, so light and heavy. Let's have a look at light cover first. So when an attack made with a ranged weapon wounds a model that is receiving the benefits of cover from this feature, add 1 to the saving throw made against that attack. Invulnerable saves throws are not affected. So that's basically as was before. If you're in cover, you get +1 cover save. That's how it was in 8th. That's okay. That hasn't really changed. But what is heavy cover? When an attack made with a melee weapon wounds a model that is receiving the benefit of cover from this terrain feature, add 1 to the saving throw made against that attack unless the model making the attack made a charge move this turn. Invulnerable saves throws not affected. Now that's weird. Okay. The reason I say that, when an attack made with a melee weapon wounds a model, why would a melee attack need receive cover save? You are close, you're in hand-to-hand combat. They're not going to be hiding behind cover. And you're both in the cover? I don't quite get that. The ranged one, yeah, okay, it's ranged, but in hand-to-hand and melee weapons, you're already there, unless I'm missing something there. When attack made with a melee weapon wounds a model that is receiving the benefits of cover from this terrain, add 1 to the saving throw made against the attack unless the model making the attack is charged. Okay, not quite sure I get that one. So if you charge, it doesn't matter, but if you're in cover with melee attacks, then it does. Okay, but the heavy cover only give you the +1 against melee weapons? Where my thoughts would be, light cover will give you a +1 against ranged, as it says there, but heavy cover might give you a +1 against range and melee. Okay, when they say they drastically overhauled this, they might have, but I don't think the wording's right, unless I'm just being an idiot and I'm not quite getting it. But anyway, leave some comments below, guys, and let me know what you know on those, what you think on those first 2 rules. So you can pick traits that will have more specific effects on the game, clarifying details such as whether or not the terrain is scalable, breachable, or even unstable. One of the real game changes is the obscuring trait. Not only does it offer an area of the battlefield that blocks line of sight, but the largest models can still be targeted. After all, an Imperial Knight towers over all but the largest buildings, making its bulky carapace an easy target. Yet it would be all but impossible for guns to match the same firing angles in return. Okay, so obscuring. Let's have a look at what this obscuring is. If the terrain feature is at least 5 inches in height, then models cannot see through or over this terrain feature. Okay. This means that one model is not visible to another if you cannot draw a line of sight 1 millimeter of thickness between them without passing through or over any part of the terrain feature. The height of a terrain feature is measured from the highest point on the terrain feature. Okay, so 5 inches. 5 inches. If the terrain feature is 5 inches in height, then the model cannot see through or over this terrain feature. So if you have a knight that's over 5 inches tall standing behind something that is 5 inches tall and you can still see its head, then you can't shoot it. I'm not following that one either. This means that one model is not visible to another if you cannot draw a straight line 1 millimeter in thickness between them without it passing through or over any part of this terrain. Now the through part I get, but the over bit I don't. So say you've got some metal containers and you stack them up. They're about 2.5 inches tall, so 2 on 2 is about 5 inches. But a knight is like 8 inches tall, so you would clearly see 3 inches in the model. But because that millimeter line is going over the top of that, that means you can't shoot it. That doesn't... I'm not entirely convinced about that one. I might be reading it wrong, but let me know. Models that are on or within this terrain feature can be seen as targeted normally. Aircraft models and models with a wounds W characteristic of 18 more are visible. Alright, okay. And can be targeted even if the terrain feature is in between it and the firing model. Note that the reverse is not true. Okay. So models that are on or within this terrain feature can see a target normally. Aircraft models and models with wound characteristics of 18 or more are visible, can be targeted. So like things like knights and stuff like that. But the knights can't shoot back. So they can hide behind and get shot at, but they can't then shoot. That's what I'm reading for that one. Interesting. Okay. Another important point to note is that even though obscuring terrain blocks line of sight, from one side to the other, a unit that's inside the terrain can still be freely targeted, though they receive the benefit of cover in the terrain also has the light cover trait, and can give fire in return. However, the days of drawing line of sight through a gap in the wall and 3 consecutive windows to a unit on the opposite side of a huge building are over. However, the days of drawing line of sight through a gap in the wall and 3 consecutive windows to a unit on the opposite side of a huge building. Right, okay, I see what you mean. So basically what they're trying to say is obscuring is a thing, but because GW can't quite work it out themselves, they've put it in a way that it's going to let the gamers decide, is what I'm taking from that. Basically, just like before, it's going to be house rules on what terrain blocks and what it doesn't block and what you can see and what you can't see. That's what I'm taking for that. That doesn't really answer a lot for me. Let's have a look. To make life easy, the Warhammer 40,000 core rulebook includes some handy guidelines for which terrain traits to apply to the most common pieces of terrain. So ruins, which I've got lots of. Okay. So the terrain category is area terrain. Okay. Terrain traits, it's scalable, it's breachable, it's light cover, it's defensible, and it's obscuring. Okay. Armored containers, which I've got 5 of those. They're classed as obstacles, light cover, scalable, exposed position. Okay. At the end of the terrain section, there are a number of example battlefields presented, each explaining the thought processes behind the terrain selection and the positioning. This is really useful advice, as getting the quantity and density of terrain right is a key factor in playing a balanced game of Warhammer 40,000. After all, too little terrain and shooting armies will have a massive advantage to much, and melee armies will likely dominate. Okay. So it's got a picture of some there. The units aren't really in cover, which doesn't really answer a lot. So the Strike Force battlefield, 44 by 60 inches, has fewer terrain features set up on it than the one below. The terrain has still been set up so as not to give the advantage to one player or another, and there is still terrain set up in the middle that blocks visibility from one side of the battlefield to the other. As a result, the battlefield would still make a good match play game. Battlefields with less terrain than this will start to advantage armies that rely on shooting over melee. So I get what they're saying. There's 2 big bits in the middle and little bits in the corners and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't think it'll be 100% understood or work perfectly until we start seeing 9th edition battle reports, until people start playing and getting used to it. And as you can see on there, this is a Strike Force battlefield 44 by 60, set up with an ideal number of mixture of terrain pieces. The placement of the terrain features creates a battlefield that does not give advantage to one player or the other, making it well suited to a typical match play game. While this battlefield uses lots of sector imperial terrain features, by bearing in mind the concepts discussed above, you can achieve the same gaming experience using different kinds of terrain features. Okay, so that's got some bigger pieces in the corner as before, same bits in the middle, the red containers are still there. Well, it's given higher altitude, higher models, and more cover saves by the look of it. Okay. A word, and then a word at the end. It's the end. I've got a little bit more. A word on battlefield sizes. A number of you have been getting in touch regarding the minimum size battlefield measurements we introduced in last week's article. We're happy to confirm that yes, you can still use your 6x4 or larger gaming tables, be they generously detailed around the battle boards or lovingly created battlefields of your own design. The minimum size battlefield guides for combat patrol, incursion, strike force and onslaught battles are just that, minimum sizes. They've been specifically designed to make the game more accessible and compact at smaller sizes, but they can just as easily be played on larger battlefields as you see fit. The minimum sizes also ensure that armies in bigger games won't be crammed on a battlefield that's too small for them. So we'll still have plenty of room to manoeuvre. And you can see there's a couple of people there playing a game. Well, Chaos versus Smurfs. Fair enough. But yeah, I'm not quite sure what to make of this article. So that's the scope of the new terrain rules, and tomorrow we'll be discussing units that can catch you saw straight over at flies. Until then, let us know your thoughts and the future on terrain and so on and so forth. I'm not 100% sure about this. I think it leaves a lot open to interpretation. And I think it leaves a lot open for discussion, which is good. But when they say the terrain's been massively overhauled, I wouldn't quite agree with that one, to be honest. That's just my thoughts. I would love to hear some of your thoughts, and so would Carl. We've been discussing some of the comments that have been left on the channel over the past couple of days at depth, and we've had a real good time, both of us, reading your comments. So that's what we would like from you on this one, guys. If you're watching this video for the first time and you enjoyed the video and you want to be part of a new Warhammer 40k channel that will be up and running fully, hopefully by 9th edition, subscribe. And you can watch more videos like this. We post Warhammer 40,000 content every single day. And if you could, at the very least, leave a like button so that like button turns blue, we would greatly appreciate it, because we want this channel to grow and we want it to do well. Okay, guys. And that's going to be it from us for this one. There will be more videos going up today because, like I said at the beginning, the Warhammer community post is brimming with new and exclusive content and rules for Warhammer 40k. So if you want to check out those videos, they will be up very shortly, and I hope to see you at those ones. But if I don't, this is Kel for 40 Call signing out, and until next time, guys, we'll see you later.